And so the riders on parade here, Bavaria and Mr. Blobby there, they must be British fans, saluting the British quartet. Gary Havelock looking to become the first Englishman to win back-to-back titles. Just looking back down the years, of course, Tommy Price successful in the first post-war World Final at Wembley in 1949. Peter Craven, the late and still lamented Mighty Atom from Bellevue. Peter Collins, another great Manchester rider as the Americans go on parade. Michael Lee, sadly, who blew the talent that was God-given. And of course Gary Havelock. And we should remember that another Briton has won the World Final. That's Freddie Williams, a Welshman who won it a couple of times back in 50 and 53. The Danes, who dominated World Final events right through the 1980s with Nielsen and Eric Gundersen, the former champion, so seriously injured in the World Team Cup Final a few years back, is in Pocking in the pits in the Danish front and looking after his old son Hans Nielsen. Nielsen, 3 times champion. It must be said that he's been involved in 1 or 2 incidents which have robbed him of potential further titles. But at 33, he's still hoping to add a few more gold medals to his bag. 1993. And now, out of the sky, which thankfully is clearing, we can see the paratroopers coming in to start the main proceedings here at Pocking. Drift in from out of the blue with uncanny accuracy, carrying the flags of the competing nations. We wonder who will be flying high at the end of the day.
Neil Dunning, please come to the announcer's box. Your friend Ian Hardegger is waiting for you with the tickets. Neil Dunning, please come immediately to the announcing box.
Oh, they're wonderful folk. Speedway fans. There's a Pole who somehow has acquired a very American-esque baseball cap. As the gladiators come into the arena for heat number 1, we would remind any followers who are not aware of the format of Speedway racing. The riders have 5 rides each. You score 3 points for a win, 2 for a second and 1 for a third. No score for a last place, and no rider has ever won the World Speedway Championship final and recorded a last place. You can identify the riders by their helmet colours. The machines are 500cc, capable of acceleration from 0 to 60 in just 3 seconds. They do 4 laps anti-clockwise, and this is heat number 1. On the inside it's Gerdnitz. There on the outside is Henrik Gustafsson in yellow and black from Sweden. Next to him, as we look across the line in white, it will be Billy Hamill from America. Grid 2 has Italian Amanda Castagno, and on the inside, the home hero, Gerdnitz. Heat number 1 coming up. And into that first turn, and it is Hamill and Riss. In fact, Riss leads. The German fans are loving this. Riss gets away. Second place, it is Hamill. In third place, going hard around the outside, is Gustafsson, and Gustafsson's moved up on the outside of Riss, and Riss not looking too comfortable as Hamill comes bursting down the inside, and all our doubts about the track not being conducive to passing have dissolved in just 1 lap, because Riss has been taken by 2 of his rivals there. Gustafsson leads it in second place, and Riss is in trouble, and Riss is down, and the German crowds are disillusioned. Riss, who led it down, not in trouble, but okay as the race continues with Gustafsson in front. There is Riss moving his machine out of the way, but that's an unhappy start for the German, who really looked promising for the first corner or so. Gustafsson from Sweden leads it. Second place is Hamill. Third is Castagna as they begin to carve up Pocking. Gustafsson will be delighted with this opening. He didn't make the start. He didn't make very many fast starts as they go over the line. So it's 3 points for Gustafsson, 2 for Hamill and 1 for Castagno, and no score for Gerdnitz. Stassen salutes the crowd. 3 points, and that's the start he was looking for. But it's a long, sad, lonely walk back for Gerglis.
So here comes the winner of heat number 1, Henke Gustafsson from Sweden in Kings Lynn. A great start to the world final for the Swede, getting the back slaps, and congratulations from his pit crew. And well, could he be on the way to the world title? Well, there's a man who's not so happy, Armando Castagna.
Coming into heat number 2, and there is Sudden Sam Ermolenko, one of the very, very positive anti-post favourites. He's on the inside here, doing a spot of gardening. Next to him, we will have Peter Carlson from Sweden in Wolverhampton. Grid 3 is Joe Screen. We'll watch how Screen starts from grid 3 in white, and on the outside it is Per Jonsson, the former champion from Sweden, who is not very happy in early rides. He made a real hash of his first ride in last year's World Final, which really cost him dearly. As we come across the line, heat 2, Ermolenko, Carlson, Screen, Johnson leading from the inside, under orders. Referee Frank Niggin will hit the button up to the first corner, and Ermolenko has made a flyer. Ermolenko is away. Johnson is going high and wide around the outside. Coming down the line, it's Peter Carlson. So there it is up front. It's very, very tight indeed as Johnson splits up Ermolenko and Johnson almost runs over the back of Ermolenko, allowing Carlson to come through, and so too has Screen. Screen missed the start completely, but he's battling through now. His wheel is over the white line, perfectly legal as long as both wheels aren't over the line. Ermolenko in front. Second place is Carlson. There's a real battle going on for these odd points. There's Johnson again, grabs a big handful of throttle and tries around the outside. Still that same order. Ermolenko unaware of the drama behind him. Second place is Carlson. Third place it is Screen, and Johnson is having another nightmare in his opening ride here in Pocking. There are the distances between second and third. Ermolenko untroubled in front, and Johnson still battling at the back but looking unhappy into the last lap, and Ermolenko looks super smooth. He leads it. Second place Peter Carlson, third place is Screen, and at the back it is Johnson. And we remind you, no rider in all the 47 completed finals has ever won the title and finished last in any of his rides. Ermolenko, a terrific start. Second place Carlson, 2 points to him, 1 for Joe Screen. He'll be looking for faster starts than that in future. And no score for Per Jonsson. Look at the restart again, and you can see that it is Ermolenko who gets away in red. Now Johnson, as they really tighten up, Carlson rode a clever first 2 turns. Johnson is very brave. He splits up Ermolenko and then almost runs into Sam, takes him wide. Carlson goes down the inside. Joe Screen, who missed the start typically, is in there battling with all his gritty northern heart. He goes hurtling around the inside, and Johnson gets squeezed out. Per Jonsson, well, he hasn't finished battling. There it is, the battle. Ermolenko still in front. There goes Johnson again, trying just to find the line, trying to find the drive. It just isn't there. And Joe Screen under pressure, but responding as Johnson gets tailed off. And Ermolenko takes the spoils. An opening 3 points for Sudden Sam. Is it going to be his year?
Well, the riders making their way back to the pits after heat number 2, won by American Sam Ermolenko. And there's a man whose world title dreams may well be shattered after just one race. Per Jonsson, former champion, as you can see, more or less pulling his hair out. A disaster for him, last place in heat number 2.
Coming into heat number 3, and there is Greg Hancock on the outside in the yellow and black quartered helmet. Hancock from California, like all the American trackmen, and Cradley Heath. Looking across, we'll have Tony Rickardson from Ipswich in Sweden. He'll be in blue here. The track has looked quite useful. It's very helpful to be in front. You can make your own line, but you can say that about most World Final tracks. Let's look at the lineup for heat number 3 on the inside. Hans Nielsen, red on pole. Next to him, Tony Rickardson, blue. Grid 3 has Lee Adams from Australia in white, and on the outside, Greg Hancock. Such nervy moments, these. But this man has done it all before and seen it all before. Triple world champion, Hans Nielsen, as the television cameras get well down low for the inside action. Heat number 3, under orders. And the Rickardson was very impatient there and almost touched the tape, and it's Nielsen who gets a drop. Going with him, it's Greg Hancock round the outside. Adams has made a terrible start. That's Nielsen in front. The battle for second place with Hancock now moving through. Third place is Rickardson, and Hans Nielsen on his laid-back machinery structure is looking very, very lethal at this moment. He made the start. He's going hard forward. He's going away from them. Hancock is second. Third place is Rickardson. And Lee Adams, carrying all Australia's hopes, missed the start. And he is he's gaining nothing at the back at the moment, as Hans Nielsen from Coventry in the British League, the Great Dane, the last of the old masters, looking really impressive in this, his opening ride in Pocking 93. 3 times former champion. He still has visions of equaling Ivan Major's record of 6 successes, and who is to say it is beyond him. In heat number 3, he's in front. Still Hancock in second place. Third place is Rickardson. And Lee Adams, dreadfully disappointingly, is at the back. And that's the way they go over the line. So the 2 anti-post favourites, Ermolenko and Nielsen, have opened in the most formidable fashion.
Well, here come the riders following heat number 3, a heat won by former world champion Hans Nielsen, many people's favourite to take the title today here in Pocking. And there's engine tuner Klaus Lausch grabbing the machine off of Hans. I'm sure he's going to get to work in readiness for the next heat, and as you can see, his pit crew hard at work immediately changing gear for Hans's next race. And well, what a confident start for the former world champion.
Heat 4, and we have coming into the action 3 of the British contestants. This is going to be a battle of Britain, to be sure. There is Chris Louis. There is Andy Smith, the reigning British champion from Coventry. Next to him is the reigning world champion, Gary Havelock from Bradford. And of course, one of the great legends now in English speed. We're one of only 5 Englishmen to have taken the crown on the inside, the lone pole, the polar part, Thomas Golub, and he has been a real eye-opener in this 1993 season. There is Golub. Interesting to see how he fares against the 3 Englishmen. Heat number 4 coming under orders inside Golub. Next to him is Havelock. Grid 3 is Andy Smith in the white helmet. On the outside it is Chris Louis in the yellow and black quartered helmet. Heat number 4. 4 laps, remember, and Havelock starts the defence of his crown in just a moment or two. Right on the outside, Chris Louis, looking a little unhappy mechanically. Now he's settling down. Heat number 4. Frank Edwin, the referee, will get them on the block. They will Havelock open his account. Away they go. Smith's in trouble, and from the outside it is Louis who's made a terrific start. Louis leads it. Second place is Golub. Havelock has ridden a clever curved crawling turn. He moves into second place. It is Louis in front. That's a surprise. Havelock is second. Third place is Golub. And at the back it is Andy Smith in all kinds of trouble as Louis, and that's a surprise. Perhaps the lesser fancied of the English finalists. He's in front and he is going for it. Well, Chris Louis had to work hard to get to the final. He hasn't really been regarded as one of England's main hopes. He's been very consistent. He has all his dad's guidance and flair, but he's showing the way home here to Gary Havelock, and at the back there's a tremendous battle, and Andy Smith just loses contact and slides gracefully to earth. He'll be unhappy about that, and Gary Havelock won't be over happy about this second place. I think he would have thought he might have beaten Chris Louis, but the young man from Ipswich is riding right out of his socks. He is looking super confident, and Dad will be jumping around at the pits at this. This is a dream start for Chris Louis. What an opener in his first world final. He wins it. Second place, Havelock. Third place is Golub. And Andy Smith, no score there, just sliding off. The British fans are buzzing. Here is Smithy coming around to finish. And there is the race winner. And we'll have a look at it again and see what happens to Andy Smith. You can just see there, well, yes, lost contact, slides to earth, unhurt but his pride. Chris Louis going back to the pits, and there'll be one very excited dad waiting to greet him.
Well, a marvellous start to the world final for Chris Louis, but there in shot is Gary Havelock, defending champion, just second place in heat number 4, behind his fellow countryman, and not such a good start for Andy Smith, who unfortunately, as you saw, took a tumble. But Gary now contemplating whether second place is enough to start him off on a successful defence. As you can see, he's got a striking pair of leathers on, a zebra design, and he does really look the part. But there's the man who's celebrating at the moment, Chris Louis, having won heat number 4. He hasn't got much time to celebrate, of course, because he's out in the next heat. And as you can see, hurried preparations, a change of helmet colour. He's now in the red colour, coming out in gate number 1 in heat number 5. And referee Frank Ebden has already put the 2-minute warning on, so Chris had better hurry, because Frank's renowned for insisting that the riders are out there in time. Well, he's just putting his gloves on right now. As you can see, mechanic Nigel Wells there waiting to push him off and making the final preparations. And also here is Father John overseeing that everything goes smoothly, and Nigel now turning on the taps, making sure the magic box is turned on, and time is really ticking away. I've just heard that there's less than 30 seconds to go, so I'm sure Chris will beat the 2-minute warning.
They've all had one start now, and this is the leaderboard, although in his very early days. Henrik Gustafsson, Sam Ermolenko, Hans Nielsen and Chris Louis had all won their opening ride, and in joint 5th place, Billy Hamill, Peter Carlson, Greg Hancock and Gary Havelock on 2. Early days yet, but those are the early leaders. So heat 5 coming up under orders. On the inside it's going to be Chris Louis with a race win under his belt. Next to him we have Gerd Riss, who had a fall in his first ride from Germany, which really broke the hearts of the German crowd. There is Riss, and he has an awful lot of ground to catch up. There is Ermolenko, race winner first time out. On the outside, Lee Adams in the quartered yellow and black helmet from Australia, pointing virtually straight across at the white line. Heat number 5 under orders. And once again, it is Ermolenko who has a drop. My word, that was a getaway. He leads it. Second place, it is Louis. Third place, it is Adams. At the back, it is Riss. And the Germans are not liking this too much as Riss makes his move down the inside of Lee Adams, but there's no catching Ermolenko. Ermolenko up front's got an immaculate line, and he's going away from them. Ermolenko from Wolverhampton in California. Twice he's been third, once or twice he's been unlucky not to have done better. There's a battle for the odd placing with Lee Adams, who is not having the world final of his dreams. Now getting a better line. Adams, of course, reckoned to be one of the great track talents, young track talents in the world. Hasn't been able to start very quickly. He does most of his work from the back, and he's not really making many inroads on Chris Louis here. Louis riding a very sensible, mature line, but it's Ermolenko in front. Louis now holding on to second place with Lee Adams just 1-2 bike lengths behind, and Gerd Riss still in contact but at the back and not going very far in way of passing either of his rivals, Adams or Louis. But it's all about Sam Ermolenko. Louis there, Louis almost losing contact right through the camera very nearly as he picked up some drive. Nasty moment for Chris Louis, but Sam Ermolenko unruffled, unflappable and unbeaten. And the crowd rise to Sam Ermolenko. Are they sensing it's going to be Sam's day? 2 rides, 2 race wins. He's looked calm, he's looked assured, he's collected 6 points. It's exactly the kind of start he would have been looking for, but he still has some very big races to come, including, of course, one with Hans Nielsen. But Ermolenko at the moment is in command of the 1993 World Final in Pocking, Bavaria.
The riders coming back into the pits following a tremendous heat number 5. Lee Adams just going through there. And there's Gert Riss, he was at the back. Chris Louis, well, he couldn't quite make it 2 on the trot, and he had to fend off the attentions of Adams and Riss. But here's the man who's unbeaten after 2 rides. I'm sure that his pit crew are extremely happy at this stage. That's Southern Sam Ermolenko, and his Wolverhampton teammate Ronnie Corrie there congratulating him.
coming into heat number 6, and there on the outside it is Joe Screen from England and Bellevue. Screeny with just 1 point. He'll be looking to pick up his performance here. He's on the outside, and he has a rare old battle on because he has got Amanda Castagna next to him, the Italian, who had just 1 point in his first ride. But there is Hans Nielsen in blue with a race win and a very assured performance for it. He is in grid 2, and Gary Havelock, the reigning champion, with a second place, needing to start to open his winning account in heat 6. Havelock, Nielsen, Castagna, screened across from the inside as the tapes go, and it is Nielsen and Havelock. Havelock gets away, so too has Castagna. Castagna, here's a surprise. Castagna ran the outside, but Havelock in front. Second place it is Nielsen. Castagna is third. Screens missed the start again, and now Hans Nielsen chasing hard after Gary Havelock. Havelock in front. They're all bunching up at the back as Gary Havelock leads, and the English fans are on their toes now as Castagna goes. Whoa, where is he going? He's going down and out, and Castagna completely missed the corner. Now will they stop it, because he's still down and Havelock is in front, and Gary Havelock won't be very happy about that, because he was leading Nielsen and looking as though he was in command of heat number 6, when Amanda Castagna totally lost control, missed the turn, managed just to bail out. Let's just have a look at the early action again, and we can see it is Gary Havelock who gets away. Castagna rides a bold first corner as Nielsen goes around the inside. There's a good racing line around that inside on the first two turns, and it's Havelock in front here, Nielsen in second place, Castagna is third. Joe Screen, as always, has all the work to do at the back as they come into lap 2. Now where is Castagna going? You've got to turn left, Amanda, and he really just managed to knock the old engine off, the power off, but he's down and he's stopped the race, and Gary Havelock may regret that, because he was in front, and it's going to be fascinating to see what happens in the restart. Castagna must come out naturally. There is his light on, no argument about that. He caused the race to be stopped. And there is Frank Ebden, the referee, the man in charge, man who certainly has never shirked his responsibility as a Speedway ref.
The rider's back at the pit gate. Joe Screen there, you can see, attending to his bike following the stoppage of this heat through a fall for Amanda Castagna. And there's the man who must be most disappointed of all, current champion Gary Havelock. He was leading, as you saw, when that race was stopped, and now he's got to do it all over again. Mechanic Scott Trigg, engine tuner Neil Evetts, and father Brian Havelock, all there. Brian studying the programme just to see where things stand at the moment, and I'm sure Gary's feeling a little bit upset that that race was stopped when he was comfortably in the lead. As often happens in reruns, well, it does give Hans another chance, and a chance that it didn't seem that was going to be there, with Javi establishing quite a lengthy lead before that race was stopped. Well, meanwhile, over in the Danish corner of the pits, we have Eric Gunderson, the team manager there, and Brian Carger, you've got a quick glimpse of, helping out on the Hans Nielsen machine. But I think we're ready now for the rerun, and, well, chaos here in the Gary Havelock section of the pits, but it all is well, and he's being pushed off for that rerun. Well, here comes the main Dane, Hans Nielsen, eager to take this second chance, with the race having been stopped for Amando's fall, and Eric Gunderson, you just saw going through picture, giving him a final word of encouragement. So here we go with the rerun.
The restart of race number 6 without, of course, Amanda Castagna, and Gary Havelock on the inside looking very, very thoughtful. He was leading his main rival, or one of his main rivals, Hans Nielsen, when the race was stopped. There is Nielsen, who's quite likely to make amends here, and on the outside, on his own, Joe Screen in the yellow and black helmet has made 2 calamitous starts. So often that's the story of his life. Can he really cause a surprise here? Heat number 6 for the second time of asking. Havelock on the inside, then Nielsen. Outside, it's Screen. Heat 6. And another clear-cut start, and it was a bit tight as they go into the corner. All 3 together. Havelock moves them over. Nielsen is second. Joe Screen almost went up the terrace steps there, and Nielsen won't be happy about that, because Havelock really moved them over there at the first turn, and Joe Screen battling back, because that was absolutely ruthless cornering from Gary Havelock. He's in front. Second place it is Nielsen. Third place it is Screen. Now can Nielsen reel in Gary Havelock? Havelock made the start from grid 1. He moved them all over at the first turn. There is a difference between them as Nielsen now starts to gradually inch and edge and shade back into contention. Havelock in front, Nielsen in second place. Nielsen trying the wide outside line. He might just have the drive here. He might just have the line. He has. That was a brilliant piece of overtaking from Hans Nielsen. Who said this track is not conducive to overtaking? Because Nielsen really produced a party piece there as they hit the last lap. Hans Nielsen in front, Havelock in second, and Nielsen looks as though he has his eyes really fixed on that title here. He was in second place, he wound it all on, he went past Gary Havelock in the most scintillating style, and Havelock could do nothing about it. Havelock hasn't been a bad race at all. In fact, he has ridden the ruthless first corner. He could do nothing to stop Hans Nielsen, and we wonder if the World Championship will hinge on that result and that restart, because Nielsen there took advantage of a second chance. He was hit all over the place in the first turn. Let's look at that corner again and watch Gary Havelock on the inside, because he definitely has to drop. Nothing illegal about his tap. He moves over Nielsen. Joe Screen has got nowhere to go. He's got to knock it off. Gets the rough end of the pineapple. Nielsen there clearly is not too enamoured by Gary Havelock's tactics. Havelock is in front. It has to be said, it's all in the game. And now let's just watch Nielsen wind himself up around here in Pocking. He's after Havelock. Havelock is riding a perfect racing ride, it would seem, and Nielsen will know he's got to do something very special. You can almost hear his mind ticking over now as he winds up. He's really joining back in here, and he takes the line. He's out where the dirt is. Havelock's got his wheel over the white line. He's ridden a good corner, but no holding Hans Nielsen. Brilliant piece of speedway. One for the connoisseur.
Well, disappointment there for Joe Screen, pegged at the back, and disappointment too for Gary Havelock, leading first time out, but beaten in the rerun by that man you can see in shot, Hans Nielsen, and it's 2 out of 2 for Hans, matching Sam Ermolenko at this stage, and it's looking as if they're going to be the main protagonists. But there's the guy who really must be pig sick, easily leading first time out when Armando Castagna took that tumble, and as you can see from the expression on his face, none too pleased to only gaining a second place in the rerun. But there's plenty of time to go, and I'm sure that Gary will bounce back. But ever the professional Hans Nielsen seizing his chance and winning the rerun to maintain his unbeaten record. Well, there's the Danish TV crew in the background. They're following Hans here, there and everywhere at this World Final, but it doesn't seem to be bothering.
Coming into Heat 7, there's Billy Hamill on the outside for the United States. Had a second place first time out. He'll be quite happy with that. There we have Peter Carlson, the Donish-looking Swede in the spectacles. Thomas Golob from Poland looked a bit nervy and edgy first time out, just the third place. And Tony Rickardson, who many Swedish followers felt might indeed be worthy of another rostrum place, and he's on the inside. Heat 7. And that's the start, and looks like Golob might just have the drop. Golob and Rickardson together, and it's Golob the pole who's got the better line shortly down the back straight. He's in front. Second place is Rickardson. Third place is a rare battle. Billy Hamill going hard around the outside of Peter Carlson here as they hit the second lap of heat number 7, and British fans are getting a taste and a sight of what all the fuss has been about in Europe. There's a rare battle for third place there between Carlson and Hamill. And Hamill's still holding on, but we're having a look up front at Thomas Golob. There he is. And Hamill rearing and bucking. Might just let Carlson through here. That's where all the action is in heat number 7, the battle at the back. Carlson in white, Hamill in yellow and black. There they are, shoulder to shoulder. And Billy Hamill just doing enough to hold on into the last lap here. Every point, of course, vital with the top 10 scorers going in to the Grand Prix qualification. So they're going to be battling right the way down the order here. Thomas Golob, well, he does look a pole apart. He looks as though he has style. Rickardson is second. Third place, it is Billy Hamill. Just holding on. And Carlson, who started promisingly, collects a decade. And the Polish fans here are celebrating. They've had very little to celebrate in World Finals for a long time, right since the days of 1973. when a surprise packet pole for Jersey Suzuki won in Katowice, where his more illustrious and more fancied fellow countryman Zenon Plek could finish only third. And gotta be wonder if this is going to be the pole that is going to turn World Championship and indeed Grand Prix Speedway upside down. A long time since Poland had a taste of honey.
Peter Carlson just losing out on third place there in a marvellous battle with that man you can see in shot now, Billy Hamill. But we're waiting for the two main protagonists to come back into the pits. And, well, tremendous riding up front there from Tony Ricardson. But that's the man that they're all talking about right now, Polish wonder kid Thomas Golub. And, well, are we going to see him in England shortly? I sincerely hope so, because he looks an immense talent. And there you can see his father, best known as Papa Golub, who, well, he's the one who everybody has to deal with, and he's a hard man to bargain with, I'm told. But there's no denying the talent of this man, Thomas Golub.
Coming into heat number 8, and there is Henrik Gustafsson, one of the early leaders, race winner first time out. He has 3 points. Next to him, as he does a spot of gardening there, we'll look across the line, and it's going to be in white there. That's Greg Hancock. We look for Per Johnson. He'll be in blue and good too. And on the outside, it is Andy Smith from Coventry and England, who had a full first time out. So Andy will be looking to pick up a few points here. He'll need to if he's going to get into that Grand Prix qualification spot. So heat number 8 on the inside. Well, let's look from the outside. On the outside, Andy Smith in yellow and black. Next to him in white, Greg Hancock. Grid 3 has Per Johnson. No score so far. He's got to start scoring. And on the inside, Henrik Gustafsson. There is Foxy Smith. Recently became a dad. And here we're looking to bring home some points for baby here. And he's soared around the outside. Smith in front. Second place, it is Per Johnson. Johnson and Smith together. A rare battle for third place. They're absolutely locked together, Gustafsson and Hancock. As they hit the bottom corner, it is Andy Smith in front, and the British fans are enjoying this. Not a lot to choose between all four. Smith in front. Johnson is second. In third place now, it is Gustafsson. There is the lineup, and there is the placings, and Andy Smith is going forward, and Per Johnson is beginning just to catch him. Third place Gustafsson. Hancock has been shaken off for the battle for the odd points, and now Johnson. Now will Johnson be recalling that Hans Nielsen just kept it all screwed on and chose an outside line? There's what, 5-6 lengths between Smith, and Smith just about overcooking that corner, and he's got Johnson right on his tail. They're into the last lap now, and Johnson has got to produce something very special, and there's not a lot to choose between. He switched down the inside, and Smith has Johnson right on his tail here as they hit the last corner. Johnson swings outside. Smith has just not got the legs. Johnson is going to go around the outside. That's again a fine piece of overtaking. Brilliant speedway from Per Johnson. Well, who said World Speedway Finals don't produce classic racing? Johnson on the last lap there really turned it all on. Terrific stuff. Look at it again. You can see that Andy Smith's in front. And again, Smith really has done very little wrong. Johnson swings down the inside here. This is the last lap. Johnson's in the blue helmet. He swings outside here, and there definitely is drive and grip, and it's definitely possible for a rider to go around the outside. Terrific stuff. Johnson proved it there. Not a bad old racing track at all, and Per Johnson turned in a real championship performance. Eight heats completed, 2 rides apiece for each rider. We're beginning to get a pattern emerging at the top. Sam Ermolenko and Hans Nielsen, the big two, are tied together on 6 points each. Chris Louis, what a surprise packet. He has 5, he's third at the moment. Then we have Henrik Gustafsson, Thomas Golub the pole, and Gary Havlot still hanging on in there on 4 points apiece.
Well, there's the man who's made a good recovery after that first heat blob. Per Johnson, he'll be feeling a lot happier following that fine victory on the line over this man, Andy Smith. But Andy's got 2 rides on the trot, and he's got a bit of a problem at the moment, because I can't believe what's happening down here in the pits, and that's that the officials have taken his bike away to be weighed. Unbelievable when a rider has 2 rides on the trot, as Andy has in heats 8 and 9. Andy doesn't seem too perturbed about it at the moment, but in the background I've just heard the 2-minute warning go. So I hope that they get his bike back very quickly, because it looks as if he wants to change gear. He's got a new sprocket out, as you can see, just checking that it's the right size. And his pit crew are going to have to work very quickly indeed if they're going to beat the 2-minute warning. As you can see, brother Paul Smith changing gear and putting the back wheel into the bike. The time is ticking away. It's coming up to a minute. I don't know if anybody has told these mechanics, but let's hope that Andy makes it out in time.
Smith had the weight control for
Coming into heat number 9, and there is Tony Ricardson in yellow and black, 3 points, a second and a third place. We have Gerard Riss, who has yet to open his scoring. He has a 4 and a 0. He'll be in white. Andy Smith from Britain is in blue with 2 points to his credit, and on the inside Joe Screen has 2 third places. Heat number 9 with the 2 Brits on the inside looking to improve their record, and it's a flying start, and it's Smith that's got away. Smith leads at second place. It's Ricardson. Ricardson is on the outside. Screen has come around the line. It's a perfect piece of inside racing from Joe Screen. Just didn't have enough there. Andy Smith leads at second place is Screen. Ricardson trying the high wide line, not getting very far. This is at the back again, but it's England in front, 1 and 2, with Andy Smith and Joe Screen. They're all swinging out to where the dirt is, and it's quite exciting to watch. Andy Smith, there's a bump down there on that third corner which just swung him offline, but Joe Screen again in second place. Screen hasn't made a start. He's under pressure now from Gerard Riss, and they're all tightening up, and it's very, very close for the odd placing, and Screen has just got the line. He's in the red helmet, we remind you. Smith in front, Joe Screen really turning it all on, rocking and rolling into the last lap here at Pocking, and again it's quite a race with Smith and Screen, and Riss trying the inside line, just hasn't got the line or the drive as they hit the back straight. It's England 1-2 at this moment, and the Union Jacks are willing to follow on the terraces. Andy Smith wins it and salutes the crowd. Second place is Screen, third place is Riss, but that wasn't a bad old race, even though there was very little passing. They were tight up and all 4 in contention. Good stuff. That's not Andy Smith's confidence, nor his score chart any harm at all. Takes him up onto 5 points. Remember, the top 10 scorers go into this controversial Grand Prix as automatic qualifiers, and Smith is back on course.
Joe Screen having to give second best to his English teammate Andy Smith. Andy just beating the 2-minute warning after that ridiculous situation with the officials weighing his bike when he had 2 rides on the trot. But here he comes. That hasn't bothered him at all, and brother Paul gives him a slap on the wrist to say, well done, brother. And well, they're going to be hard at work on the bike. Andy, a courageous performance when you think that not a fortnight ago he was in hospital following that horrendous injury at Coventry. Well, we're getting ready for the next heat. An American, Greg Hancock, there waiting to be pushed off. Greg will be hoping for better fortunes, having just 2 points to his name at this stage. Yes, just 30 seconds remaining for Greg, so he better get his skates on, and he's just being pushed off now.
And coming into heat 10, Amanda Castagna, disappointing so far, just 1 point and a fall on the outside in yellow and black. He can always hop out and is perfectly capable of causing a few surprises. Next to him in white is Thomas Golub, the Pole, who's just won a race. He has 4 points in total. Grid 3 has Ermolenko, unbeaten, looking very, very likely, and on the inside Greg Hancock in red. So heat number 10 beginning to get really, really tight in there now with Hancock, Ermolenko defending an unbeaten record. Thomas Golub running into form on the outside. Castagna always a spoiler. Heat number 10. It's a very even break as they hit the first corner, and it is Hancock in there. Oh, there is trouble, and down has gone Golub, and we're allowed to look at that one again because Hancock got away, seemed to move Ermolenko over, and Golub got the elbow, and Golub is down, and well, not looking too comfortable. Watch it again. What happens? There is the start. Hancock gets away. What's happened to Ermolenko? Ermolenko's got both feet off the ground. He's jet propelled. Golub has lost his footrest, regains it there. Now what happens? Hancock moves out. Ermolenko gets moved over. And Ermolenko seemed to get a knock and just kept going and knocked Golub. What will the referee make of that? Because Golub was the man who came off worse. But the referee, Frank Edmund of Britain, may well rule that it was first bend bunching and have all four back in. There is Thomas Golub, who's saying, what hit me? And the crowd salutes his courage. And indeed, he'll be saying, am I back in the race? It looked as though it was a case of first bend bunching. And the referee has indeed decided that.
Well, there's Thomas Golub, none too pleased at the treatment he received at the first bend there. But at least he's in the rerun. Referee Frank Ebden decreeing all four riders back in the rerun. And, well, they had to work hard in the pits down this Polish end to get that bike serviceable. As you can see, Thomas perfectly okay in himself. And just checking that everything is okay. Just going to put the helmet on now and make sure that the cutout is fitted securely, and he'll be off for the rerun. It looked as if Sam Ermolenko was going to miss out there, but well, he certainly dived through a gap that didn't seem to be there. And this man suffering the worst, but he's okay for the rerun.
So we come in for the restart of heat number 10. Same four riders. Golub is back in action there, looking none the worse for his little tumble on the first turn. There is Ermolenko, who gave nothing away first time out. Billy Hamill moved them all over. He's on the inside. Heat 10. Hancock on the inside. Then Ermolenko. Group 3 has Golub on the outside. Castagna. Heat 10. Second time of asking. And this time Ermolenko has got the drop, and so too has Castagna. Castagna gets away. It's very fast on the outside. You can get a terrific racing line, and it's the Italian who leads, and Ermolenko is in second place, and Ermolenko isn't going to put up for that for too long. He moves there, Castagna and Ermolenko together. Ermolenko has again ridden around the outside, and there is no stopping the Californian. Terrific Speedway. Castagna is second. In third place it is Thomas Golub. At the back it is Hancock. But we've seen, look at that bump there that Ermolenko hit. We've seen him going from the start. He has now shown that he has great class and style and flair for coming from behind. And he is looking as though he wants that world title. He's in front. Second place is Castagna. Third place is Golub. Golub, well, missed the start, and now he's moving up hard to try and challenge Castagna. He might just have the line here as well. Into this last lap. Ermolenko in front. Can Golub get around the outside of Castagna? I think he might. He's drifting out where the dirt is. Now, can he get his wheels back in line? Yes, he can. Moves into second place. Good Speedway from the pole. He's not that far behind Ermolenko. Ermolenko is going to win it. Over the line. Third race win for Southern Sam. Good fighting second place from Golub. Third place was Castagna, who just doesn't seem to have the horsepower. And the Americans are on their feet as well. They might be, because Ermolenko has shown when he gets in front he goes very fast, and when he is at the back he can take them as best they can. And there you can see the start again with Castagna getting away. Ermolenko is in second place. Third place is Golub, who was all over the place up to the first turn. Now let's have a look at Sam Ermolenko round the outside. Castagna gave nothing away, but Ermolenko just had the line and just had the power, and indeed just had the courage. He is into the lead, and it's going to take a fair old rider to stop him here. Sam Ermolenko, 9 points to his credit. Unbeaten. He's done it from the front. He's done it from the back. 2 more rides he has to go, but these are the moments when the seconds seem like hours, and every moment in the pits is a nerve-wracking ordeal. Ermolenko.
Well, finishing second in that one, there he is, Thomas Golub, none the worse for wear for the crash first time out. There's the winner, unbeaten after 3 rides, Southern Sam Ermolenko. As you can see, the officials have decided to weigh his bike after that race. Sam will be well pleased with that second chance he got there and the victory in the rerun of heat number 10.
Heat 11, Gary Havelock needs victory. 2 second places, the reigning world champion, who has been such a caring and considerate world supremo, who's done so much to try and promote the sport in Britain. He's on the outside here, but really needs a race win to keep in touch with Nielsen and with Ermolenko. Across the line, we look at it, there is Lee Adams in blue, and on the inside Per Jonsson, who after a disastrous start got a race win last time out. So into the first corner, and it is from the outside Havelock. Johnson is second, third place in blue. It is Adams at the back. It is Billy Hamill, and Hamill moves inside Adams here as they tighten up for the odd placings. But it is Gary Havelock who's made a terrific start, and he's in front, and Havelock leads Per Jonsson. We remember, of course, these were the first two in the final in Wrocław in Poland last year. They're all tightening up at the back there, with Adams trying to bore a hole down the inside of Hamill. But this is a more like it for Gary Havelock. 2 second places. He's in front in Heat 11, and this will put him back in touch with the leaders. He's dropped 2 points. He could certainly ill afford to drop any more, and it looks like he's going to show Per Jonsson. Jonsson very disappointing, has to be said. No score first time out, a better race win last time, but he's making no inroads at all on Havelock here. Hamill is hanging on, Lee Adams is at the back, and Australia is lamenting because Lee Adams is really not in touch in this, his first world final. Well, yellow horns for Lee, that's for sure, and certainly Gary Havelock is back in touch with his title here. He's ridden the calmest and most assured of races. He wins it. Johnson is second, third place it is Hamill, and Gary Havelock in those new zebra style leathers has the Union Jacks aflutter. That takes Havelock on to 7 points, which puts him in third place overall behind Ermolenko and Nielsen. And Gary Havelock, who hasn't had such a sensational season as in 1992, certainly isn't giving up his chances yet without a fight.
Well, Per Jonsson second in that race. Lee Adams coming in behind him, not having a good world final so far. And Billy Hamill still in with a chance of a place on the rostrum. But there goes the heat winner, Gary Havelock. He'll be feeling a lot better after his first victory of the afternoon. His bike due to be weighed by the look of it by the German officials. Gary having to walk back to his position in the pits. And what about those leathers? Hey, absolutely superb, aren't they? A zebra design, and Javi's certainly looking the part here in Pocking. Well, hopefully his bike will be weighed and perfectly okay, and he'll get it back in a moment. Yes, and there it is, being wheeled back to the pits.
Coming into Heat 12, Peter Carlson on the outside in the yellow and black helmet quartered. Next to him, Hans Nielsen, and he is unbeaten so far with 2 race wins. With 2, we'll have Henrik Gustafsson. You'll have to watch him. He's got 4 points. And Chris Louis, who has been the pleasing surprise packet for the British fans, he is on the inside in red. So let's look at that lineup again. On the inside, it is Chris Louis, 5 points so far. Next to him, Henrik Gustafsson, 4 points. Grid 3 has Hans Nielsen, unbeaten on 6. And on the outside, Peter Carlson with 2 points, his second place, and a 0. The German start marshal getting all into line. The starts, must be said, have been very well behaved. Heat number 12. From a different viewpoint, and who is going to hit the start on the outside? It's a flying start there from Carlson. Carlson and Louis. Louis in front. Carlson's in second place, and Carlson swings down the inside there. My, really could throw a handkerchief over all 4 there. Carlson in front. Second place, it is Louis. In third place, it is Hans Nielsen. What has happened to the main Dane? He missed the start, and Nielsen now has a lot of work to do. He moves up on the inside of Chris Louis. Still Carlson in front. Here's a surprise. Chris Louis hanging on. McKinney's riding right out of his skin. In third place, it is Nielsen, and this could open up this World Championship final absolutely like a wide open apple, because Nielsen is having to really sweat to try and pick up on Chris Louis, and Carlson in front. The 2 unexpected ones, and Nielsen has ridden again a picture corner around the outside of Chris Louis, and he really is giving it 120%. Carlson in front. Who would have thought that? Back in last place, Henrik Gustafsson is wheeling and roadaying, and can now Hans Nielsen get up and take the very calm and assured looking Peter Carlson? Nielsen going round the outside. Has he got the legs? It's going to be a close call, and Nielsen's just overcooked it, and Carlson is going to win, and that is a surprise. Nielsen is second, Louis is third, Gustafsson is last, And that really was a race that will go down in the record book, because Carlson, really, the rank outsider, had no chance against Nielsen, Gustafsson and the surprise packet Louis. But he made the start. Let's look at it again on the outside, and you can see that Nielsen rears and almost leads the way up to the first corner. Louis made a good start, but around the outside you can see Peter Carlson swings down the inside of Louis on the outside of Gustafsson. Nielsen was having to work hard not to drop back into last place here as they hit the bottom corner. Peter Carlson is away, and we just watch for Nielsen, because Chris Louis has never ridden with such majesty as this. He really has surpassed all our hopes and aspirations, Chris Louis. He was perhaps the least fancied of the four Englishmen, but he's doing us proud. And Nielsen really has to pull out every stop and every trick in the book to get by. Still Carlson in front. You can see now Nielsen remembers the dirts out there, grabs the throttle and his courage in both hands, and now he sets sail after Carlson, but Carlson holds on, and that one has opened it up.
Well, Chris Louis there, he won't be happy with the third place in that one after leading. Looks as if he was on the way for a victory, but that man there forced his way through. Peter Carlson, a much underrated rider from Sweden and Wolverhampton. Good win there for Peter, and an unexpected win, it has to be said, over Hans Nielsen and Chris Louis, both of whom are going well at this stage. And there's his fellow countryman Anker Gustafsson offering his congratulations. But meanwhile, well, a little bit of consternation in the Danish camp. Erik Gundersen and Hans Nielsen discussing what happened there in that heat number 12.
12 heats gone, 3 rides apiece for each of the 16 finalists. We have a clear leader now. Sam Ermolenko, the American, unbeaten on 9 points. Hans Nielsen has dropped a point. Will that be critical? He has 8. Gary Havelock, the reigning champion, still up there on 7 points. Then we have Chris Louis. What a surprise, he's been on 6. Thomas Golub on 6. Andy Smith coming into the picture on 5. Peter Carlson on 5. Per Jonsson, former champion, now back on 5. They're the leaders with 12 heats gone.
Well, Joe, here we are at the interval stage, and well, it's not gone your way so far.
No, you know, the first one, I keep missing the start really bad. The bike I rode in practice yesterday was going good, and it wouldn't start when we got here, and the coil packed in on it. So we had to put a new coil in. I think we've the timing slipped or something, because we don't seem to be revving. I tried 2 rides on it, and you know, I got 2 points, and I went out on me. Did I get 2 points? I can't remember now.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And then I went on the other one, this blue bike, my new bike, and it seemed to go better. You know, it was revving more, so.
Well, of course, making the start's all important here, as opposed to the under-21 championship final. The starts were important, but it's even more so here in Pocking.
Yeah, but I'm making, you know, them 2 starts I did the first 2 was terrible. You know, it's getting me down.
Well, just looking at the scores at the interval stage, Sam Ermolenko unbeaten on 9, Hans on 8, and Gary Havelock on 7. So Havy's not going to give up this title without a fight.
Guess not.
Okay, Joe. Well, thanks for talking to us anyway. And, well, I mean, a rostrum place is out of the question, but you're just going to go out there and do your best in the last 2, presumably.
Yeah, I want to try and get in the top 10. You know, I'm a bit disappointed only scoring 2 points in my first 2 rides, and you know, I want to do something, you know, in my next 2.
Okay, well, I hope you do, Joe. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
Eric, you and Alf Busker working hard on Hans Nielsen's behalf here. 8 points at the interval. The crunch obviously going to come in heat 15.
It is, and it's a very important race. And I mean, Hans hasn't been making all that good starts out there. He's doing it all from the back, which is that much harder. But like, he's riding 200%, and it seems like he's not getting the yards to the first corner. And you know, we'll see what happens in the next one. He needs to make a good start.
Well, all this running around I've been watching you doing this afternoon, I mean, it must be harder than actually riding.
No, not really, but it is hard, and it's beautiful to be a part of it. And I mean, Hans is great to work with, and I mean, we're just doing what he wants us to do and requires. And I mean, he's he's just doing it all in his own mind. I mean, he's so professional, and I mean, we can give him the odd little tip here and there and support him the best we can, and that's what we're here for.
Okay, Eric, thanks for talking to us. We'll let you get on. We know you're busy.
Thank you.
Cheers. Well, Tony, here we are at the interval stage, and obviously you're looking a bit disappointed. Things not going your way today.
No, I just feel like I'm getting in the wrong place at the wrong time for the moment, you know. But I have a couple of races going, and I'm really going to try to win these two.
Yeah, because obviously, although your chance of becoming world champion has gone, finishing in the top 10 very important indeed.
Yeah, it is. You know, you got it. It's really hard, you know, when you're really disappointed. I was coming here to try to win it, and now I'm so away from it, you know. So it's a bit hard to put yourself together, but I'm going to give it my best shot.
Yeah, I mean, this top 10 place, all important, and this Grand Prix system, I mean, what do you think of it?
Pardon?
What do you think of this new Grand Prix system coming in next year?
Well, if I look back to the season, my form of the season, I think it should be better for me anyway. I haven't had a good final at all so far. Hopefully I can win these two races coming, you know, and improve my score a bit.
Okay, Tony, thanks for talking to us. We'll let you get on.
Okay, cheers.
Well, Armando, it's been a hard afternoon for you so far. I mean, I think you've fallen on 2 occasions.
Well, I touched Hans back wheel on my first occasion, and well, I fell off. And the second one, I was pushed a little bit hard and was on gate 4, so pushed me a little bit wide. I couldn't stand on the bike, so I just pushed the bike down.
Yeah, that second one is a very hard first corner from Sam Ermolenko.
Well, I'm not riding properly, you see, that's why as well he passed me. I mean, it's not for Mano Castagna when he's getting in front to let somebody pass like they did, you know what I mean. I'm not riding properly, so I hope I get better the last 2 rides. I'm very unhappy at the moment.
Well, is it the bike, or is it you, or is it the track?
No, it's me. Well, the track did change a lot from the practice. I mean, it's completely different, but that doesn't mean anything. I mean, I should ride how the track is today, and you know, and I can't get on with it. So nothing to do with the bike. It's just me, you know.
Well, hopefully you'll get it together in your last 2 rides.
I really hope so, mate.
Okay, Armando, thanks for talking to us.
Coming into heat number 13, and German hopes have been dashed of success, but Gerd Riss might still prove himself to be a winner here with Gary Havelock next to him. Havelock overall in 3rd place, and we'll be hoping to pick up something from heat number 13. Another race win here would put him right back in contention with Ermolenko and Nielsen. Grid 2 has Greg Hancock, and on the inside it's Peter Carlson, who won his last race in such exhilarating style. Heat number 13, we'll watch for Havelock and for Riss, because the outside grid has been very lively, and indeed Riss it is who gets the start, and Riss gets a terrific start, and Gary Havelock has missed the start completely and has an awful lot of work to do here. In front it is Riss, in 2nd place it's Carlson, in 3rd place it is Hancock, and Gary Havelock has made a disastrous start. He's moved now into 3rd place, but can he possibly catch the other 2 rivals here? He's over the inside edge with his front wheel, and Gerd Riss with the Germans on their feet is leading it, and Hancock hasn't finished for that odd place, and this is little short of a disaster for Gary Havelock. He's back in 3rd place. He will need to get more than that from heat number 13. It didn't look to be one of his toughest races, it must be said, but Gerd Riss is really doing the old Bavarians a good turn here. He's in front. There is Havelock. As we look at him and we look at the distance that he has lost contact, and he's going to do awfully well to pull that in here in heat number 13. He doesn't seem to have the horsepower or the ability to get back in touch as Riss leads it. 2nd place is Carlson, and Gerd Riss at last giving the German crowd something to cheer about, but it's breaking the hearts of the British fans and indeed of the reigning world champion Gary Havelock, because surely his title has slipped away now. Riss wins it. We thought that outside grid might be a bit special. He wins it. 2nd place it is Carlson. The German flags are held aloft, and Gary Havelock must now surely with that 3rd place say farewell to his world championship trophy, because Riss has taken the 3 points there that Havelock needed so desperately.
Well, Greg Hancock having a disappointing afternoon. It's not going to be his day, but coming through into picture now, the man who's won that heat and certainly set the crowd alight here in Germany, Gerd Riss. A lot of pressure on him to do well this afternoon.
Coming into heat number 14, and we look across the line on the outside it's going to be Tony Rickards and then Per Jonsson. Blue is Chris Louis, who has 6 points, started with a win, has just dropped off a little, but he hasn't done too badly at all. And on the inside, Amanda Castagna, as we look across the line. Let's look from the inside. Inside Castagna red. Next to him in blue, Chris Louis. Grid 3 has Per Jonsson, and on the outside it is Tony Rickardsson. Now the outside has been lively, and the inside too, and Castagna will be looking to gain something here. He's in a disappointing world final, just a couple of points. We're looking at it from both angles as the tapes go, hold it a long time. Off they go this time. Castagna's got away, so too has Rickardsson, and it's Castagna in front. Rickardsson is second. In third place it is Louis. Johnson has come around on the inside, but Johnson is only just back in third place. He's not having one of his better days as Amanda Castagna, the Italian, is in front, and the volume of sound is rising from the Italian fans who made the journey across from his native Tuscany. It's all tightening up there, but Castagna, we always thought, had it in him to be a surprise packet and maybe get up to big scores. Had a pretty poor first 2 starts, but he made a start here and he's going for it. And Chris Louis back in second place as Johnson takes the short line around the curve, but he just can't seem to get enough drive down here to pick him off up front. Still Castagna. Louis is making life difficult for him. Certainly not going to go to sleep. There they are in line of theme. And remember, they're all chasing Grand Prix places, and Castagna now will be back in contention as Louis gets the line under him. But if you're out where the dirt is, it does count here. It isn't a bad racing track at all. This isn't a bad world final by standards. There is some fine racing and some great track craft, and Castagna wins that one after a rare battle with Chris Louis, and Per Jonsson disappointingly back in third place. That's 6 points for him. So clearly his hopes of a place on the rostrum are beginning to fade. Coming into Heat 15, and this is the one the world has been waiting for, because we have the clash of the mighty. We have Sam Ermolenko on the outside, unbeaten on 9 points. We have Hans Nielsen next to him in the white helmet. He has 8 points. We have Billy Hamill in blue. We have Andy Smith, who's got 5 points, and don't discount Foxy on the inside. But all the action here surely will be on the outside. There is Nielsen. He needs to beat Ermolenko here to really keep alive his hopes. If Ermolenko should win this one, he really would be well set. Nielsen in white, Ermolenko on the outside. Hamill has, 4 points, certainly not in contention. On the inside, Andy Smith has 5 points. The start will be critical. Heat number 15, something's got to give here. Seems to be waiting a long time, and away they go, and it's Ermolenko who gets away. Ermolenko from the outside, Nielsen is after him, Smith is third, but Ermolenko has made the critical jump, and Nielsen now must set him up as they hit the bottom corner. Still Ermolenko in front, there's a bike length between them. Nielsen makes his move down the inside, going wide, he's hit him. Well, what about that? Going in hard, too hard. Down has gone Sam Ermolenko. We'll look at it again, but the first reaction is that Nielsen just went inside his back wheel, just collected Sam Ermolenko. Ermolenko stands clearly upset with that. It was a ruthless piece of cornering. Look at it again. Ermolenko has the line. Watch Nielsen. Nielsen comes inside. Did he pick him up? Did his back wheel make contact? You must judge for yourself, but it looks as though Sam Ermolenko has been knocked off there. Nielsen again, we'll look at it again, we'll slow it right down. Nielsen, you can see, might just be up in front, but we've seen if you have the outside line, it's beneficial here at Pocking. There is Ermolenko. Ermolenko on the outside, and Nielsen moves across there. Well, it looks as though he picked his front wheel up and took him down. For the referee to make a decision here, really there can only be one decision. It looked as though Hans Nielsen helped Ermolenko down. Would Ermolenko have fallen had there not been contact by Nielsen? That's the question you must ask. The race has been stopped. The referee has got to exclude somebody for being the cause of the stoppage, and it looks as though Nielsen is going to be the man, because Nielsen came under just so hard it might have just had the drop, but Ermolenko went down, and the white light is on, and Nielsen has been excluded, and we're going to be talking about that for years to come. Nielsen will clearly be upset about that. It looks as though Ermolenko has bike problems, and as he went down, the bike seems to be refusing on its kick there now, but Ermolenko going back to the pits. The crowd are absolutely boiling here, and Nielsen, I'm sure, will have something to say, but from our television viewpoint, and we have the benefit of the video replay, we have a hindsight not afforded to the referee, Frank Ebden. It has to be said, it looked as though Nielsen helped Ermolenko down. And if that is so, that is foul riding, and he has to be excluded. Well, he's still standing around there, and there doesn't seem to be any arm waving, nor does there seem to be any histrionics. But there's an official there saying, no, you are out. The light is on. The arguments will rage, but the referee has one view of it. He must make an instant judgment. And our replay here on rerun videos almost certainly showed. You must judge for yourself. But it looked as though Nielsen's back wheel took out Ermolenko, and that has to be analysed as unfair riding. Nielsen came under hard, just a trifle too hard. We're not saying it was intentional, it certainly wasn't. He was really absolutely primed up to go past. There is Frank Ebden, the referee. Clearly there are protests coming in from the pits, but it would be unlikely that Frank Ebden will change his mind. And Nielsen is still there saying, no, I was guilty. I wonder what he will say when he has the benefit of seeing this replay. It was very, very hard tactics, and certainly it probably was unintentional, surely it was. But Nielsen seemed to bring down Ermolenko. Ermolenko certainly was in no trouble until Nielsen came under him and his back wheel moved across him. You must ask yourself, would Ermolenko have fallen on his own? And you have to say, I don't think so. Now there is Ermolenko. Word from the pits is that his number one machine has in trouble, and he was hoping for some extra time to repair it, but the referee doesn't seem to be too inclined to give him any extra time. And our information is that he's on a spare machine, which may well not be absolutely prepared 100%, because he's had to switch bikes. There is still Hans Nielsen still complaining, and Ermolenko says, I've got some problems with my bike, can I please have extra time? The drama now is coming in the most theatrical fashion, but Ermolenko still looking a bit anxiously at his reserve bike. Remember, he's on a different bike. It's definitely a different bike now. Is it going to be as speedy and fast as the first time? Away they go, and Hamill in grid 2 is up in the air. Hamill's up in the air. He's picked up Ermolenko. Ermolenko looked to be stopping. Everybody was watching Billy Hamill, because Billy Hamill coming out of grid 2 there was in the air. Watch it again. Keep your eye on Hamill and keep another eye on Ermolenko, because Hamill seemed to be out of control. Just gets it down, and Ermolenko definitely was slowing. There was nowhere to go for Hamill but into Ermolenko, and what is the referee going to make of that? He must have been watching Hamill. Hamill only just gained control. There is no exclusion light on. It was the first corner, remember. The referee has it within his power to say that it was a case of first pen punching, although there's no such rule in the book, but that is often the case. Hamill is on his feet. Ermolenko now, he certainly looked as though he was slowing. It certainly looked and heard as though, it sounded as though he dropped a chain, in which case will the referee judge that he was not under steam when he stopped the race, or will he say that Hamill was the cause, or will he say everybody back in? And now we are getting a fair amount of reaction. Hamill is looking across. He thinks he's excluded. It looks as though he thinks he's coming out, and he'll be aggrieved about that because he needs the points for the old Grand Prix qualification. Now this one they're going to talk about until Speedway goes into posterity, and there we have some trouble. The natives are getting restless because these are Hans Nielsen, so they're certainly Danes. We can judge that from the flag. They have invaded the track. There is Ermolenko, inscrutable, saying nothing. That face gives nothing away. Only he will know positively what happened there on that first corner of that restart. Certainly it looks as though his machine had stopped, or is certainly losing power. Whether or not it could have kept going, we will only have to learn when we get the information from the pits and when Bryn Williams can do some interviews. It looked as though he had dropped a chain, but did it happen before Hamill fell? Was it the cause of Hamill falling? Or was it just one of those things that happens in Speedway? At the moment, it is all three back in, which gives Ermolenko another chance, a third chance. The Danish fans I'm not at all happy about that. They've invaded the track, and we don't want to see that in World Speedway finals. But this is a moment, an incident, a race that changes the course of history in Speedway. Destiny happens and is changed in the blink of an eyelid. And we have had a Heat 15 which people will be talking about for years and years and years. World Speedway finals down the seasons as the fans now are taking a bit of moving. At the moment it is quite good humoured, but we hope it won't get ugly. Down the years we have seen so much drama in World Speedway. The very first one, 1936, was a runoff which caused all kinds of comment afterwards. We remember 1951 when we had a three-man runoff and Jack Biggs, unbeaten, should have won it and eventually finished third. So many incidents. Barry Biggs and Ovi Fundin in 1957. The great Ivan Major, Jersey Sazakiel clash in 1973. Bruce Pennell. So many great incidents, so much drama. And this one is in the true tradition of World Speedway final. You must ask yourself, there is Ermolenko. Is he lucky or is he the victim? Certainly, he looked as though he was knocked off by Hans Nielsen. Nielsen won't be happy, but Ermolenko went in the restart. He had to change his machinery. Now, you must ask yourself, had he not been knocked off, would he have had to change his bike? He was the unfortunate. If he was the victim of Nielsen's ruthlessness, then you have to give him the benefit of the doubt, because he had to go on a different bike, and that may not have happened had he not been victim of the incident with Nielsen. He has not been excluded, and we have to say that over the years, Sudden Sam Ermolenko from California has had a fair amount of bad luck. He has had his share of ill fortune. Maybe today his luck has changed, because it certainly seemed as though he was in trouble in the restart. He's now going back in, and here is one man who I am positive is going to ride that luck. Into the arena for the third time of arson. The track has been cleared of the Danish fans, and we have the restart with all three, just Andy Smith, then Billy Hamill. Well, he managed to maintain better control up to the first turn this time, and Sam Ermolenko on the outside looks like he's burning coal. Still some problems. And we have some fans still over the fence there. They've got it clear. It's going to gain nothing at all, and we don't like to see this at any Speedway meeting, never mind a world final. The crowd may be upset. The Danes certainly will feel perhaps they've been robbed. The referee is the man with the whistle who must judge it as he sees it, and we have had those incidents. We've seen them 2 or 3 times. You must make your own mind up. I know what I think. Here is the restart of heat number 50. And Ermolenko has got the drop this time. Surely he'll make no mistake. Ermolenko in front. Second place is Smith. Third place is Billy Hamill. And Sam Ermolenko takes a very calm look back over his shoulder. He knows exactly where everybody is, whether Andy Smith won't stop fighting. And Ermolenko in front and aware that he mustn't loiter. But now, we have a look down the score charts, and this would take Ermolenko up onto 12 points. Which puts him well clear of all his rivals. Nielsen now certainly can't catch him, and he's going to do well to get back into the reckoning. So Ermolenko here on a maximum, 12 points from 4 starts, might well have wrapped up the world title here. Second place is Smith, and Ermolenko has been spread-eagled. His machinery looks to have been disloyal to him, but it's going sweetly enough now. And Sam Ermolenko from California and the Wolverhampton Wolves is going to pick up his 4th win. The crowd will treat that indifferently, certain quarters of them will anyway, but he has 12 points and looks as though he is home and hosed. Second place for Smith, third place was Hamill, but after all the drama and the discussion and the debate and the controversy, we wonder if Ermolenko will really even have to get a point in his last ride.
Well, there's the man who's ridden his luck all afternoon, and he makes it 4 wins out of 4. Sam Ermolenko, surely on the way to that elusive world crown now, getting the congratulations of his pit crew. And, well, I don't think anybody's going to catch him, but it's not all over yet. But there's the man wondering what it might have been, Hans Nielsen.
Coming into heat number 16, the last of the fourth round, and that's Thomas Golob from Poland, who has 6 points. Next to him we have Henrik Gustafsson, who's got to start winning some races. He's in white. Joe Screen is in blue. On the inside, Lee Adams. As we come into heat number 16, they're all looking for points for qualification here for the Grand Prix, and away they go into the first turn. Also flying start from Golob. Golob's in front. Second place, it is Screen, who's done some good work around the inside on that first corner. They've been taken by Gustafsson down the back straight. Screen and Gustafsson together. As Golob leads heat number 16 in third place. A rare battle. Lee Adams has come back up under Joe Screen here. And the Screen is at the back and having to really work. As we hit the bottom corner here, Screeny again. Leg training style, so exciting, so exhilarating that if only the boy could start with the rest of the lads. Still, the battle there is Screen going wide out onto the dirt to try and find that bit of extra. He's down the outside of Lee Adams. Still Golob in front, second place Gustafsson. And Screen has moved under Gustafsson there. It looks as though he helped him down as well. Oof, almost a carbon copy of the incident with Nielsen and with Ermolenko, but Joe Screen moving under Henrik Gustafsson seemed to catch him with his back wheel. The race has been stopped, the red flag and the lights are on, and the referee, Frank Ebden, has another crucial decision to make. He's having a really busy afternoon. Let's look at it again. Green and blue now. Gustafsson, is he going to go? He is now. Unhurt, but surely Henrik Gustafsson will be looking for justice from the referee, and there it is, Joe Screen, the blue light is on, has been excluded, and I don't think even he will argue with that.
Well, there's the only man with any chance of catching Sam Ermolenko, Thomas Golob, who must be bitterly disappointed that that race was stopped following that crash involving Joe Screen and Henrik Gustafsson, with young Thomas miles in the lead, and well, he's got to do it all over again. And as we've had earlier in this meeting, one wonders if that is a chance gone, whether we're going to get a different result in the rerun. But consternation there in the Polish pits. There seems to be some sort of problem with his bike. There's a lot of unhappy faces, and Thomas himself, well, he's pacing up and down and wondering whether his bike will be okay for the rerun, or as to whether or not he's going to have to switch to his second machine, and he certainly won't want to do that at this stage, with a rostrum place very much on the cards for this Polish wonder kid. And as I said earlier, I just wonder if we're going to see him in England shortly. Well, they're still working hard on that bike. In the foreground you can see Lee Adams' pit crew also working hard, and I've just heard that the 2-minute warning is in fact on for the rerun. Thomas putting on his helmet, and his father again looking very concerned. Well, there's a little bit of chaos. Thomas going over to his second bike. Will he be coming out on that one? No, he's just taking the cutout, and I think he's going to come out on his number one machine. He certainly needs a win in the rerun to have any chance of matching Sam Ermolenko. Winning this one, the win in his last would give him 12 points. Sam would have to finish last and in heat number 20, and then there would be a run-off for the title. The time is ticking away. There's less than a minute to go now, and both Lee Adams and Thomas Golob not quite ready for this rerun, and it's going to be a race against time to beat that 2-minute warning. Well, both riders are ready and about to be pushed off. I think they're just going to beat that 2 minutes.
Second time of asking. Golob, the pole, was in front, and he'll be wondering if his luck is going to hold or if his form is going to hold, because we're coming into the restart of heat 16. 3 only, no Joe Screen. And this time it looks like Gustafsson has got the drop. No, again, here's Golob from the outside. Golob leads it. Second place, it is Lee Adams. Now Gustafsson screwing it on down the outside of Lee Adams. Lee Adams just hasn't got the horsepower. Can't contain Gustafsson. Still Golob in front, and Gustafsson now moving down the inside of him. Golob sneaks a quick look over his left shoulder to see where the threat's coming from. It's coming from Gustafsson. He moves out into the dirt. Gustafsson down the inside, racing for the connoisseur here, with Gustafsson in second place, leading point. Golub on the outside. He is a very, very raw and exciting talent, this lad. Down the outside, still looking for Gustafsson. Gustafsson moves down the inside. Is there enough drive there? Not quite. Good Speedway. Golub still in front. There's what, 5 lengths between them. But Gustafsson isn't finished here in heat 16, that's for sure. He moves down the inside this time and rode a beautiful corner there. Oh, he really did pick up some ground down the inside of corner 4. And he's moved under Golub. Not going to catch him now. He moves him out of the way. Again, fine Speedway. We've seen a passing on the outside, and that was a perfect piece of inside passing from Henrik Gustafsson. He needs these points for qualification, and he goes over the line. He wins it. Golub is second. Third place, it is Adams. But that again was a fine piece of Speedway racing. Good passing, good tactics, good track craft, and a great win for Henrik Gustafsson.
Well, Thomas Golub there knows that his dream of being world champion has gone, finishing second in that. And at this stage, Sam Ermolenko is the new world champion. But there's the man carrying the English hopes for a rostrum place right now, Chris Louis, leaving nothing to chance. Not out for a couple of heats, but he's warming up the bike in readiness. And there's the man who is the new world champion. I don't know if he quite realises what's going on at the moment. He's probably thinking that he still needs at least the points in his last ride, but with Thomas Golub only finishing second in that last race, then that confirms that Sam the Man is the new world champion. I think that they've just realised what is going on, and here comes former world champion Ivan Major to add his congratulations, and well, hug for Sam there, who's still listening to his music in a very relaxed mood for somebody who's just won the World Championship. And, well, is Ivan trying to sign him up for meetings in Australia already, we wonder? I wouldn't put it past Ivan, because Ivan, as you know, now promotes Speedway in Australia and New Zealand. Ronnie Corey there, just about to sign an autograph for a local fan. Ronnie out of the action this afternoon, unfortunately. But there's the new world champion, Sam Ermolenko.
"16 races gone." What a change on the leaderboard now, because it looks like Sam Ermolenko is the champion on 12 points. He is unbeaten. The controversial Hans Nielsen on 8. What a gap there is, 4 points of difference. Nielsen's on 8, Louis on 8, Gary Havelock's on 8, Thomas Golub's on 8. Then we have Henrik Gustafsson, Andy Smith and Peter Carlson on 7. Remember, the top 10 go through. Looking down the list, Per Jonsson and Billy Howell are there at the moment, but these last rides are going to be critical. But Ermolenko is champion and doesn't need any points from his last ride. Heat number 17, and there is the man in the centre of all the melodrama, Hans Nielsen on the outside. He has 8 points. Now, there is the laid-back machinery, the different style, which has looked very, very potent this afternoon. Coming into Heat 17, Nielsen will still be looking for a place on the roster, though he cannot catch Ermolenko now. Ermolenko, as they come into the last round of rides, is the new world champion on 12 points with 1 to go. Here is Heat number 17. Riss, Johnson, Golub and Nielsen from the inside. How will Hans Nielsen recover from that heartbreak last time out? And he is doing it as we thought he would, responding brilliantly. The man is resilient. He's away here. Second place is Golub. Third place is Per Jonsson. At the back it is Gerd Riss. And Hans Nielsen still has going to make a mark on this world final. He still hasn't finished battling. He still wants a place on the roster, and he will claim, I'm sure, that he had rough justice. I wonder what he'll say when he's had the opportunity to look at the incidents a few times through in slow-mo, as the battle is going for the bottom places, the minor placings in heat number 17. It's Nielsen up front, and now moving into second place. Gerd Riss has made up some ground, and Riss has saved himself a bit late as now Per Jonsson comes under him, but the outside line is the more beneficial. At the back now it is Golub. In fact, Nielsen is in front, and he's going to finish on 11 points if he can just manage to circumnavigate one more lap here at Pocking, which certainly will take him into a place on the rostrum and possibly into a runoff for second place. He can't catch Ermolenko. but he is going to win heat number 17. Second place is Riss. Third place is Johnson. And Hans Nielsen responds the way a true champion should in the face of adversity. Straight back in the winning groove. The man has nothing but courage, and he had the ability to bounce back there after his disappointment. The Danish fans salute him. No trouble there at all for Hans Nielsen. Let's look at the start again. There's Nielsen on the outside. Terrific start. Swoops across the field. Perfect tactics. Away he goes. Second place is Golub there. But the minor positions are dipping and switching and changing alarmingly here. If you've got to commentate on it. Golub is in second place there. But they're all moving around. You can see there Johnson's in blue. And Gerd Riss is at the back here. But Gerd Riss is finding a little bit of purple form just a bit late in this meeting. You can see there he swings around the outside of Per Jonsson. And also then pulls in Thomas Golub. And he's gone past two of them on one corner. You cannot say this track is not raceable. Riss going around the outside here of Johnson. Johnson has had a disheartening day, but so too has Gerd Riss, who has just found his touch a little too late to make any real impact on this World Final.
Well, Hans Nielsen will be happy with that, having won heat 17 and guaranteeing himself at least a run-off for second place in this last ever World Final.
Coming into heat 18, here's Andy Smith looking for a qualification place in the Grand Prix. He has a total of 7 points. He is on the outside and needs a race win here to be sure of a place in that lucrative Grand Prix next year. Looking across the line, we have Peter Carlson, who too has 7 points. On the inside, Lee Adams only has 2, and grid 2 has Amanda Castagna, who has a total of 5. They all to do with points, although Adams, sadly, is out of contention. Heat number 18, we'll watch for Smith around the outside, who likes to really roar across from grid 4. He's got away here. Terrific start from him, so too has Lee Adams. Lee Adams made the best start he's made all afternoon. He's leading, but I don't think he's going to hold on to Smith. In third place, it is Carlson Castagna at the back, and Smith in front. Lee Adams having his best ride of the afternoon. Actually managed to gate with the boys that time, but Smith just had the better racing ride. The battle for second place between Adams in red, and now Castagna's getting back into contention. And we've had some very interesting battles for the minor places. The racing has never been boring. Smith looking very composed up front, and he can be a little erratic at times, but he's had a fair World Final. Didn't start too well, but he's picked up points in his last 3 rides, and a race win here will get him through into the Grand Prix next year, one of those 10 golden places, and I think he would have settled for that at the start of proceedings. Second place is Lee Adams, who has had a desperately disappointing first World Final, but he's only 22. To be sure, there ought to be others. And he's right on Smith's back wheel here, and making sure he doesn't sleep for the whole of the 4 laps. Looking very wide there. Smith will win it. Second place is Adams. Third was Carlson. And Smith might just get into a runoff for a place in the frame as well on that one. It all depends on what Chris Louis does. Andy Foxy Smith from Coventry Bees, the reigning British champion. Really courageous, had a really very painful injury just a fortnight ago, but he's responded magnificently. He knows he's through to the Grand Prix next year, and he still might gain something from the afternoon here in Pocking.
Well, cracking victory for Andy Smith in heat number 18, and what a brave performance from the man who only a fortnight ago was in a hospital bed.
Race 19, Joe Screen has a total of 4 points. Desperately needs a race win here to have any chance of a qualification place for the Grand Prix. There we have Chris Louis, and Chris Louis has a total of 8 points. A race win here can take him into a runoff for second place. Who would have thought of that? Greg Hancock in grid 2. Billy Hamill on the inside has a total of 5 points. So heat 19 with many things still to race for, and Chris Louis has got the jump. Another super start from the young East Anglian. He leads it Second place is Hamill. Hamill just has his nose in front here. I think Louis just will have the line. And here comes Joe Screen around the outside in yellow and black. This is marvellous stuff. Absolutely nothing between the first four, really, with Hamill there in trouble and almost overcooking it. Chris Louis down the outside, a battle for the minor placings as well, with Screen and Hancock in contention. Great Speedway. And Chris Louis has got to find something special now, because he knows, and Hamill again almost overcooks the corner. Surely Louis will just have the line here. Coming down the outside, he's racing right out of his boots. He could never have dreamed to have such a great world final. Louis has just got the line here. This could take him in, will take him into a runoff for second place. That's beyond his wildest dreams, I'm sure. He has to face Hans Nielsen, but he has done Britain proud today. What a performance from Chris Louis, a great Heat 19. He's shown skill and courage and great pace. He wins Heat 19, he's in the frame. He could be second place in the world. That would be one better than his old dad. Third place there was Joe Screen, who's worked terribly hard for very little reward here in Pocking. But the British fans here are on their feet for Chris Louis, the young man who has followed his father's tyre prints, had an awful lot to live up to.
Well, cracking victory there for Chris Louis over Billy Hamill, and that guarantees Louis a run-off for second place here in Pocking this afternoon with Hans Nielsen. A quite tremendous performance from the Ipswich rider, being congratulated by teammate Sam Cesar there.
Coming into Heat 20, and there is the new world champion, and we have this unique occurrence of a champion who doesn't need a point in his last ride to be assured of the title. Ermolenko is champion, and he can just do really a victory parade here in Heat 20. There are other issues to be decided here, because we have Gary Havelock in blue, and if he wins this one, it could take him into a runoff with Nielsen and Louis. He needs a win here. And we also have Tony Rickardson and Gustafsson. Now, Henrik Gustafsson has 7 points. He's looking for points to make sure of a qualification place. So Ermolenko on the inside. Now, will he go for it, or will he just be content to go around, go through the motions for 4 laps and just milk the crowd for applause? Ermolenko has had enough excitement and controversy to last a lifetime this afternoon. He is on the inside here. He knows he's the champion. It must be a wonderful feeling. He's on grid number 1, but there's going to be a lot of excitement going on around him, because Gary Havelock needs a race win here. He is in blue. Grid 3 is Tony Rickardson. He only has 3 points, so he really needs a race win to have any chance of qualification for the Grand Prix. On the outside, Henrik Gustafsson has 7 points, and so he will be looking for a race win to consolidate the place in the GP next year. Ermolenko, the calmest guy in the stadium, it looks like. He's on a spare bike again, we can see. So clearly he had problems after that incident with Nielsen. Heat number 20, can Havelock get up into a runoff for a place in the rostrum? Can Gustafsson get out of gate number 4 and guarantee himself a place in the Grand Prix? There is Gustafsson. The outside grid has looked by far advantageous in these later stages. We're looking at Ermolenko and off. They go into the first corner, and Gustafsson's made a flyer. So too is Ermolenko. Ermolenko gets away, but he's not really worried too much. Ermolenko went from first to last there as Gustafsson sweeps down the outside ahead of Gary Havelock. That could be critical. In third place is Tony Rickardson, and Ermolenko is content to let the boys fight it out, because he is the champion and he's going to do nothing silly here. He may just start again, and he might just get up into third place, but he is carefree about what happens in heat number 20. He is the champion, and Gary Havelock now must pick up and try to get up on the rider in front. That's Henrik Gustafsson. There is Gustafsson in yellow and black, and Havelock is all over the place as he battles, bless him, trying, pushing beyond the bounds to try and catch Henrik Gustafsson. The track is now drying up. He's getting just a bit on the slippy side, as you can see. Havelock has given everything here, and he's not going to catch Gustafsson. Gustafsson will go to the Grand Prix for sure. So will Gary Havelock. That's some consolation for this brave Englishman. And Ermolenko can content himself with a last place and just going through the motions, because he knows he's the champion in an afternoon where the thrills and controversy have come thick and fast. Ermolenko does a wheelie over the line. He can now go round and collect the applause and the salutes of this Pocking crowd. And we've seen a bit of history, because that's the first time a world champion has recorded a last place and still taken the crown. And Sam Ermolenko now will do the victory lap. There is Gustafsson. He's happy enough too doing a wheelie, because he knows he's in the Grand Prix, and that was probably his first target. And the crowd are on their feet to salute a new champion. Ermolenko is champion. America has its third world champion. There'll be those who will say he was a lucky man, but after the ill fortune and indeed the injuries and the knocks and slings and arrows of outrageous fortune which has attached himself to Sam Ermolenko, there are very few in the world of Speedway that will begrudge him these victory moments. The traditional scenes, the world press in there, they're interviewing him, they're photographing him, they all want to shake his hands, although we wonder what Hans Nielsen will say about it all.
Und auf Platz 4 letztlich dann die Startnummer 5, Sam Ermolenko aus den USA, der Speedway-Weltmeister des Jahres 1993. Und nun, verehrte Zuschauer, von unserer internationalen Zeitnahme wird uns das Punktergebnis zusammengestellt.
Well, these are the moments that will go into the video library of Sam Ermolenko, and there are some photographers. I can see Mike Patrick there, British photographer, leading the celebrations there. Ermolenko now can relax. He's had a tempestuous afternoon, to be sure, but he's shown such skill. Looks like that might be his wife Shelley. It's difficult to tell from this angle, but they all want to salute the new champion. This was his target when he came to Europe. He's worked hard. He had tremendous leg injuries. He has one leg which is permanently damaged. You wouldn't think so to watch him ride, but you cannot begrudge this man his success. He has ridden his luck, no doubt about that, but that is the story of World Championships. Some great scribes, some great observers down the years have called it the Boulevard of Broken Dreams. For Ermolenko, it's a dream come true. For Hans Nielsen, the Boulevard looks mean tonight, and he still has some work to do because he has a run-off for second place.
There it is. Hey! That's it, mate, lovely. Keep in there, keep in there, keep in there.
2 Punkte, 13 mit 11 Punkte, 14 10 Punkte.
The run-off for second place in the 1993 World Speedway Final in Pocking. The last race, potentially, in a world final in the old style, with Hans Nielsen and Chris Louis in contention for the second place. Nielsen, of course, the old campaigner. Chris Louis, the new young pretender who has ridden beyond any expectation and anticipation.
It's a rider's opinion if you will start again.
Nielsen will be on the inside in the blue helmet, and Chris Louis wide there on the outside in the yellow and black in this run-off for the second place in Pocking. Nielsen's experience surely will be brought to tell here. He's been through it all before. But Louis will battle, and Nielsen's got away and moves out to mid-track. Nielsen in front. Louis is in second place, and now he has a mountain to climb because Nielsen has looked very, very swift when he's got in front. But Louis will battle. Still that same order, and Chris Louis has got to find an extra gear from somewhere. Hans Nielsen has opened up, 3, 4, 5 lengths on him. The machinery is going so sweetly. Chris Louis has had a world final debut which will live with him for the rest of his days, and I think it will be his dad as well. 13 on his back. It hasn't been unlucky 13. He just might not have enough to get up on Nielsen. Nielsen is a wily old campaigner who's responded well to the disappointment of missing out on the world title. There is Nielsen. And we have to contemplate that incident and think to ourselves, had Ermolenko been excluded from the restart of Heat 15. With those, he could still have won the title by winning his last ride. So maybe in the final analysis, justice will be seen to prevail here in Pocking. Nielsen wins second place. We rather expected that. Chris Louis has had a momentous first world final, and we have had a day which the fans around the world, from Melbourne to Moscow, will be talking about for a very long time to come. Well, the Danish fans and the Nielsen camp are celebrating. I think there may be a few words of commiseration in there for him. And what about Chris Louis? What a tremendous performance, and no wonder the British camp here are elated. He has exceeded all our hopes and expectations. There is John Tiger Louis, the dad. This must be a great day for him. And that's an Ipswich picture with Chris Louis, his Ipswich teammate Tony Ricardson there, and the promoter Tiger Louis. And now here's Bryn Williams talking to the new Speedway champion of the world.
Well, Sam, you've worked so hard over so many years for this. I mean, you must feel absolutely great.
Well, I tell you what, I do feel good, and I think from your neck of words where this video will be seen, there's somebody I wish to thank sent me a letter, Steve Bindle from Poole, the announcer there. He sent me a little letter. It was positive thinking, and it definitely helped.
And positive thinking from start to finish. But that incident in Heat 15, what did you think when the race was stopped?
Well, the referee made a decision, and it went in my favor, and I'm pretty happy that sometimes things go both ways. Remember the world final in Sweden, where, I mean, it didn't go my way when me and Per clashed. So, I mean, they see it all different ways, and in that race, I mean, he definitely came in hard, but he was passing me, but as he went by, he clipped my hand and just turned my wheel, and it slid me off.
And in the rerun too, another controversial moment?
Yeah, that was it was one of those things where big time luck played in my favor in that one again. You know, I mean, what happened at the start, I mean, there was so much rush and bust going on because the bike that went down on the ground was bent, and I couldn't ride it again, so I had to jump on my other bike, and through all the hustle and bustle, as I went in the corner, the chain came off. And so, I mean, big time luck. I mean, Billy slid out on his own. He said that, you know, he didn't fall down for any reason. He just slid out on his own.
Well, you've had all the bad luck going so far. I see we've got essential supplies turning up.
An orange and a beer.
An orange and a beer. Great celebrations tonight.
Well, I tell you,
you're riding tomorrow, aren't you?
I'm riding 2:30 tomorrow, but you know what? The biggest excitement I'm going to have is getting back to England where, you know, the fans, you know, I've been racing, and a lot of them come up to me and said that I deserve it, and I'm sure glad I actually had a chance to prove that I can be world champ, and I've done it, and it's great.
And great celebrations in the family, because it's your boy's birthday, isn't it?
Adam's birthday. He's 12 years old, and wish him all the best. And, man, they're here. It's the first time my kids ever came to a world championship, and, you know, thanks. You know, it's all worked out great.
Okay, Sam, congratulations. You deserve it. The new world champion.
And I hope to do a good job. You know, if I'm not doing a good job, slap me. I can handle it. Cheers.
We will do, Sam. Thanks for talking to us.
The final rundown from this eventful 1993 World Speedway Championship final from Bavaria. Sam Ermolenko for America, the champion on 12. That's the lowest points that have ever taken the championship outright. Hans Nielsen wins the runoff for second place. He is second on 11. Chris Louis magnificently in third place on 11 for England and Ipswich. Henrik Gustafsson on 10. Andy Smith wonderfully on 10. Gary Havelock, the defending champion, has done enough on 10 to go through to the Grand Prix next year. Let's have a look at the Grand Prix qualifiers. Those top 6 go through, of course. Now, Thomas Golub, the Pole, is through on 8. Peter Carlson is through. A good performance from him on 8. Per Jonsson on 7 and Billy Hamill on 7. They all qualify. Now the non-qualifiers. Gerd Riss started the pit attack too late, 6 points. Amanda Castagno on 5. Joe Scream learned a bit today on 5. Tony Ricardson, that's a surprise, on 4. Lee Adams disappointing on 4. And Greg Hancock on 2. And now the moment that will live with Sam Ermolenko until he draws his final breath. The moment when he is crowned officially the champion of World Speedway in 1993. The last, possibly, of the old-style world champions. Sam Ermolenko from California and Wolverhampton is the king of the world, and it's going to be a night for him to remember and a year for him to savour, and a final for us to talk about into the long winter night.
Thanks a lot. Cheers, man.
Well, there's the handshake, and that's the sign of a real true sportsman. Hans Nielsen hiding his disappointment, and I'm sure he will have lots of words to say about his exclusion. But he's on the rostrum, he's saluting his fans. He is man enough to salute the man who has taken the world title in 1993. The handshake is there, but the discussion will go on indefinitely. What a wonderful moment for Chris Louis. He came here to Pocking as the most unfancied of all the Brits in his first world final. In fact, there were many to say that he did awfully well just to qualify for the final. And here he is on the rostrum. He could never have dreamt that. He's emulated his dad back in 1975. And who is to say that he won't go even better as the years unfold? He's shown terrific maturity. He's quite beyond all expectations here in Pocking. He has been the success story of the British side, the British contingent here. Gary Havelock has battled manfully and certainly didn't give up his title without a real fight, and he'll be back, that's for sure. He'll be in the Grand Prix next year. Andy Smith has turned in another fine world final performance. Joe Screen, well, a learning process for him perhaps. You've got to gate at this level. Joe's just got to sharpen up his starts, and who knows, he may be on the rostrum in the years ahead. But that's a moment to grab in the heart of every British Speedway fan. Chris Louis on the world final rostrum at his first attempt. Outstanding. And after Sam and Chris shared the champagne, Bryn Williams spoke to England's man of the moment, Chris Louis.
Well, Chris, when we spoke to you before the start of the meeting, we said you'd come a long way since those early days at Hackney. Well, you've come a heck of a long way. Third in the world. How's it feel?
It hasn't sunk in. I think when we've had a few beers tonight, I know all about it, but it's absolutely magic. I can't believe it.
I mean, you rode consistently well throughout the afternoon.
Yeah, some riders had a little bit of bad luck, I felt, and some riders were very lucky to score points in races where there was only 2 or 3 riders, and I just, like you say, consistently rode to my best, and that was enough to finish on the rostrum. So for my first one, I'm more than happy with that.
Well, you say your first one. Unfortunately, it's going to be your last one by the look of it, because of the Grand Prix next year.
That's right, yeah, but I mean, that means I'm still in the World Championship next year, so that's another great thing.
Yeah, and there's 2 places better to come, isn't there?
That's right, yeah, I would have liked to have beaten Hans in the run-off, because that would have meant that, you know, I'd have beaten my dad with a 2nd place instead, but I think he's quite happy that I'm 3rd, so it gives me another chance.
Well, talking of your dad, he's here with us now. John, you must be immensely proud.
Yeah, I'm very, very proud of him, very, very pleased for him. He's worked very, very hard for this and put it together on the day when it counts, and 3rd place, he's equalled my very, very best. My first attempt was 5th, sorry, and his is 3rd, so, you know, he's done very, very well indeed.
Well, when we talked to Chris earlier, we said he'd come a long way since those tentative first few laps at Hackney. Now, in those days, you didn't really want to put him in the team, did you?
No, when you say that, you know, like, yeah, there was reservations, but Dave Pavitt insisted that he had the pedigree and should go in and find his way, which we did, as you well know, Bryn, and he was our star man in that year as well.
We moved on to Ipswich. I mean, there's going to be great celebrations when you get back to Suffolk, aren't there?
Well, let's hope so, you know. Let's hope that the people do appreciate what's happened and the effort that he's put in, and, you know, he just thoroughly deserves it.
OK, Chris, so just a final word. You're going to celebrate in style tonight.
Yeah, too right we are. I mean, the mechanics were going back tonight, but that's been vetoed now, and
we're going to celebrate for a day or two, I think. So it's just a shame that Julie couldn't be here, you know, because she would have enjoyed watching it. But I think it probably would have been too much for her. I better go.
Okay, Chris, you better go. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Third in the world at his first attempt. Absolutely magnificent. As you can see, Hans deep in conversation with Ollie Olsen. Obviously regarded as many as the unluckiest rider in this year's World Final. He's got to go off to a press conference. He's likely to get engulfed by fans if he doesn't go very quickly. So we better let him go. And as you can see, it's absolute chaos, and he's off to the press conference right now. We'll try and get a word with Hans later, but as I say, regarded by many as the unluckiest rider in this quite amazing World Final.
Hans Nielsen, du warst der große Favorit, du bist in Anführungszeichen nur Zweiter geworden, you were the big favorite, Hans, and it is the second place. Are you very unlucky?
Well, obviously I'm unhappy about it. I thought things was going very well, and I thought the track was pretty good, and I felt my bike was going good, and obviously the problem in the race when I met Sam in my fourth ride, and I think the referee was totally, completely out of order disqualifying me for that race. There was no way I should have been excluded. Sam left the big room on the inside, I went for it. He realized I came and he tried to turn back, that was too late, so we crashed a little bit, or clashed a little bit. And he laid the bike down or came off, or whichever way you want to put it, and I got excluded for it. Totally wrong. And I think it, obviously for me it ruined the World Final, and I'm sure that it did for a lot of Danish people and maybe for a few others as well. So I'm not happy. I'm obviously not happy with the second place after I think you know, I should have won it the way things went. So the way I look at it is the referee robbed me of my world title today. Thank you very much.
Sam, I know it's a stupid question, but what did the last heat mean for you when you were world champion already?
Well, I mean, I did, like I said, there's no excuses today because I came out on top, and to me that's great, but in the last race, right at the start line, again, I was a victim of engine problems, and I only had to really just go through the race because the bike at the finish line, I'm sure when we tear it down, we'll find something that was majorly wrong with it. So if it would have came down that I needed points in that last race, I would have been struggling because every one of my bikes were history.
Thank you. More questions, please. Herr Kalabis.
Congratulations to me. You think about it, you come back next year to Europe, or you will get one of these?
Will I, say that again? Will I be racing throughout Europe? I tell you what, it's my opportunity to pay back the sport that I've really enjoyed for the last 10, 12 years. And I'm going to take full advantage in every opportunity that I can to promote the hell out of Speedway, especially when it's taken a big change in the Grand Prix Series. And my riding's been consistent all year long, and I hope to carry that on. The only thing that's probably going to really hurt me in life down the road is my injuries that I had in Germany in 1989. Those are kind of effects that I don't really know how long I can go on with it.
We're not going to Hollywood.
I tell you what, I'm going to wait for the president to send me a telegram first, and I'll tell you what's going on.
More questions? No more questions? Yes, please.
No, I didn't speak to the referee after I was excluded. I was extremely surprised that I was excluded. When we came round after the race was stopped, I saw the yellow light was on, and I thought, okay, fair enough, Sam's excluded, and I thought he would be. And then we came over to the pit gate, and we were waiting for everybody to get ready. And as we were going to push off and get out to the starting tapes again, the German official told me I was excluded. I said, what do you mean I was excluded? There's a yellow light on up there, that's Sam is excluded. And we pushed off over to the start. And I saw the yellow light again was on. Well, then I realized that the yellow light was actually the wrong color. I mean, that should have been white, because there's 1, 2, 3, so it's the wrong color. So I was extremely surprised when I got up to the tapes to see that I was actually excluded. I thought, what the heck is going on here? I mean, what have I done? So I didn't know what to do. I thought, there's got to be something wrong. But when I then came back to the pitch gate, Alf Busk and Eric was there, and they said they spoke to the referee, and the referee had said, oh well, I knocked Sam's leg or something. And as you know, once the referee's made a decision, you can't change his mind anyway. So I didn't even bother to talk to the referee, and he probably wouldn't talk to me anyway. Any more questions?
Well, Hans Nielsen obviously extremely disappointed over the final result, and particularly that Heat 15 decision.
Yes, I think that was totally wrong, and I think the referee was totally out of order, disqualifying me for that. I did not feel that I did anything wrong. It was a hard race, yes. Sam went for his line on the outside, I went for mine on the inside because of it, and he maybe decided to turn back because he heard me coming on the inside. Therefore, he locked up a bit, and obviously we had to touch, but I don't think he came off because of that. I think he chose that, okay, I lost this race, I better lay it down and maybe I can get in the race again, and that's what happened, but that was totally wrong.
More controversy in rerun, of course, when his chain snapped going into the first bend. He must have been amazed that he was put back in that race.
I didn't see the race, but from what I heard, yeah, that was very, very silly. Obviously, if the referee can see somebody stopping or something, and they obviously must have done if the chain came off, then obviously he's got to deem him, not under power, and therefore excluding him and cause off the stoppage.
Well, looking forward to next year. It's the Grand Prix and maybe revenge.
Yes, certainly. I mean, a result like today would have been perfectly okay in a Grand Prix around next year. I mean, second is a lot of point, and you can look forward to the next 5. But so obviously, it's been a bit of a devastating day today with this decision. But as you say, we can look forward now to next year, and hopefully we can get a successful Grand Prix next year.
Okay, Hans. Thanks very much for talking to us.